My name is Evelyn. I'm 30 years old, and 5 years ago, my parents decided I was a liar. Not because they caught me cheating, not because they saw proof, but because someone else told them a story, and it was easier to believe than asking me the truth. It started with a single phone call. My mother's voice was cold, controlled. She said, "We know you didn't finish your degree. We're disappointed you lied." I remember standing in my tiny apartment kitchen, still holding my graduation application papers in my hand. "I didn't lie," I said. "I'm finishing the semester. I'm graduating." Silence. Then she replied, "Your sister showed us everything. Screenshots, messages. You forged documents. We won't support dishonesty." That was the moment my world shifted. They stopped paying my tuition installment. They stopped answering my calls. They told relatives I had dropped out and was pretending otherwise out of embarrassment. I kept sending proof, enrollment letters, grade reports, emails from professors, but my sister was always one step ahead. She's under pressure. She's mentally struggling. She doesn't want to admit she failed. And my parents believed her. Not once did they sit down with me. Not once did they look me in the eyes and ask. It's strange how quickly you can be erased from your own family. The next 2 years were brutal. I worked part-time jobs between classes. I skipped meals to afford textbooks. I studied in libraries until closing time because I couldn't afford heating at home. Some nights I cried quietly in bathroom stalls before walking into lectures like nothing was wrong. Quitting would have been easier, but quitting would have made their version of me true, and I refused to become a lie. So I kept going. I passed my finals, I completed my thesis, I walked across that stage at graduation. Alone. No one clapped my name. No one hugged me afterward. I took pictures with classmates' families smiling in the background while my phone stayed silent. That silence hardened me. I stopped trying to convince them. I built my life without waiting for validation. 3 years later, I received an email that changed everything. I had been nominated for a National Excellence Award in my field, out of thousands of professionals. The ceremony would be public, broadcasted, formal. I almost declined. What was the point of being celebrated when the people who were supposed to be proud of you believed you were a fraud? But then I realized something. This wasn't about proving them wrong anymore. It was about honoring the version of me who didn't quit. So I accepted. What I didn't know was that my parents would be sitting in the audience. My aunt had seen the announcement online. She invited them, thinking it would clear misunderstandings. The night of the ceremony, I stood backstage in a navy blue dress, hands trembling slightly. Through the curtain, I could see rows of seats filled with families. And then I saw them. My mother, my father, older, stiffer, whispering to each other with confused expressions. They weren't sure why they were there. Maybe they thought it was a coincidence. Maybe they thought it was someone with the same name. The host began announcing finalists. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear. And the recipient of this year's National Excellence Award is... A pause. Then, Evelyn Carter. For a split second, the room was silent. Then applause exploded. I walked onto the stage. The spotlight was blinding, but I didn't look away. As I reached the microphone, I could see them clearly now. My mother's hand covering her mouth, my father frozen in his seat. On the giant screen behind me were my credentials, my degree, my published work, my achievements over the last 5 years. Proof. Not sent in emails, not argued in text messages, displayed for hundreds to see. I spoke calmly. I want to dedicate this award to the version of myself who kept going when it would have been easier to quit, to the nights spent doubting but not surrendering, to learning that sometimes you have to believe in yourself when no one else does. I didn't look directly at them. I didn't need to. When the ceremony ended, they waited near the exit. My mother was crying before I even reached them. "We didn't know," she whispered. "We thought you were lying." I held her gaze. "I sent you everything," I said softly. "You just didn't want to see it." My father's voice cracked. "Your sister told us." "I know," I interrupted gently, "but you chose her version without asking mine." It's strange how quickly you can be erased from your own family. There are moments in life where you expect anger to take over, but I didn't feel anger. I felt distance. 5 years had built walls inside me, brick by brick. They apologized over and over, but apologies don't attend graduations. They don't show up for lonely birthdays. They don't sit beside you when you're struggling. I forgave them, not because they deserved it, but because I deserved peace. That night, I went home with my award in my hands and something far more valuable in my heart: closure. They believed I lied about my degree, but the truth doesn't shout. It waits. And sometimes, it waits until there's an audience.